to start, come on down onto your back, bent knee position, and we're just going to start with some windshield wipers just to get our hips and our central nervous system on board. So come to a laying down position, give a second, let your back get comfortable, and then step your feet so that they're about hip, shoulder, or wider position. It's all of that positioning just depends on the variations in your hips. So if you like to start with a closer position and see how that feels, rocking your knees side to side, and then if it feels like you're not getting a good range of motion, then you might opt to walk your feet a little bit wider. So you're going to choose the variation of wideness in your stance that suits your body best. And then just take those knees side to side and tune in and notice, how's your hips feeling and how is your back feeling? Because we're going to stay in a lower grounded position today. We don't get past a high kneel today. So just make sure everything's feeling good. And if you notice there's anything funky going on with your back, your knees, or your hips, just make sure that you make adjustments so that your body stays happy through the entire class. We got about 23 seconds left. So take those knees, dropping them side to side, just as fast or slow as feels good, and as wide of a position as feels good to you. Nice. We got 10 seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Okay, walk your feet in closer. So feet about hip width distance apart, heels a little closer to the butt, and hands down alongside your hips. We're going to do rolling bridges. So slow, mindful movement. Think of this still as part of your warm up. Curl your tailbone up and then think about rolling up through the spine or rolling up through your vertebrae. And then once you hit the top, roll back down through the spine. So you're going to think upper back, middle back, low back, hips touch the ground, and then right back up. Curl the tailbone up. Think about accentuating through the spine. So we're just articulating those bones, and then roll back down through the spine, nice and slow and controlled. And then as you get a little bit more smooth with that rhythm, take it as fast or as slow as you like, but we curl the tailbone up, roll up through the spine. Once you hit the top, curl up through the upper body, middle body, low body, hips touch down. You got 20 seconds left here. Go as fast or as slow as you like. And then as you're here thinking of this as a warm up, notice what's going on with your legs and your knees. So you might have been focusing on the spine a little bit, but were your knees buckling in or out as you did that maneuver? And then can you keep your legs just a little bit more steady? We got 5 seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Okay, roll over onto one side. We're going to take it into some sideline leg lifts. So your hand is going to support your head, and then you're just going to walk your feet forward at a slight 45-degree angle. So there's a little bit of a hinge from your waist. You're going to keep the toes and the knee pointing forward, and you're going to lift and lower that top leg. You're going to go as fast or as slow as you like, and it doesn't have to be a huge range of motion. You're going to work in the way that feels best in your body, but try to keep the toes and the knees pointing forward. So hopefully you're finding a little bit of work coming out of this outside of your thigh and the side of your glutes. All right, now for the next 30 seconds, you're going to externally rotate the foot. So now the toe and the knee are going to be pointing up towards the ceiling, and you might get a little bit more range of motion. So you might be able to kick that leg a little bit higher if it feels good, but we also want to make sure we maintain a little bit of stability in the top half of the body. So there's not a lot of rocking around going on from the ribs up to the shoulders. We got 10 seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, we're spinning around to the other side. So I'm going to flip around so that I can still stay facing the camera, but you can just roll over onto your other side if you like, right over to that other leg. So in that sideline position, head is supported, legs are angled about 45 degrees. For the first 30 seconds, toes and knees are pointing forward, and we're lifting and lowering, finding a little bit of control, making sure the top half of the body stays fairly stable. All right, now we're gonna rotate the leg externally. So the toe and the knee are pointing slightly upward towards the ceiling, and you might get a little bit more range of motion coming out of your hip. But again, we wanna keep the top half nice and steady, nice and stable. Nice work, you guys, 10 seconds left. And time, awesome job. Lower that leg down, flip back over onto your back, and we're moving right into some crunches. So hands behind the head, knees in a bent position, elbows are gonna stay wide. We're gonna contract the abdominal muscles, so the chest and the chin lift, lower back down with control. You're gonna go as fast or as slow as you like. If it's beneficial to you to pay attention to that contraction of muscles, go a little bit slower so you can really tune in and focus. But if you just hate crunches and they're just a burner and you want to just go as fast as you can to get the work done, just make sure that you're keeping a nice engagement in your abdominal muscles, pulling the muscles downward towards the spine as you contract those muscles, keeping a little space between your chin and your throat, and a wide position with the elbows if that feels good. If holding on to the head doesn't feel good, then you prefer to load up right at the chest, keep your arms there, but keep that nice stable position with the upper body, contracting the abdominal muscles, releasing with control. You got it. You got 7 seconds left. And time, nice job. Grab your hand weights or your theraband, whichever you prefer here. We're gonna take it into some chest presses. So either you're gonna grab your theraband, pull it apart and keep that nice tight position pulling apart, or just load your weights right up at the chest. We're pushing right up to the ceiling, lowering with control. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're gonna work it at your pace. Keep a nice wide position with the elbows as you lower down and push up towards the ceiling, finding a little bit of squeeze in the armpit chest muscle. If you're working with super light weights, start to pick up the pace here. Go a little bit faster, but keeping your back of your ribs nice and tight against the floor. If you're working with heavier weights, go a little slower, be mindful, make sure you're not puffing up the chest and the ribs to help assist that weight coming up. So we want to find most of the work coming out of the armpit chest muscles. Nice, Robbie, beautiful. Yes, Helen, nice. Man, you guys look awesome. Great job. Nice, Ting. Two seconds left. And time, nicely done. Okay, set your weights off to the side, still keeping a bent knee position. Now we're gonna come back to some hip bridges here. At the bottom with your hips down on the ground, you're gonna lift the toes and the balls of the feet, feel that little bit of a activation or innervation of the muscles in the front of the shins, and then release the toes down, lift up into a bridge. At the top of your bridge, lift your heels, keep your heels lifted, lower yourself down, and then once your hips touch down, lower the heels. Pick up the toes and the balls of the feet, lower the toes and the balls of the feet, lift your hips up, lift your heels up, keep your heels lifted, lower down, and then release your heels. And then you're just gonna take that at a pace that feels good to you. So we lift up, heels lift, heels stay lifted, lower the hips, lower the heels, lift the toes and the balls of the feet, release them down, lift your hips, lift your heels, keep the heels lifted, lower down with control, lower your heels. You got it. You're already halfway there. Thirteen seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Okay, now we're going to grab our weights again and we're going to hold a nice close grip. So you're going to just relax your feet a little bit, make sure your hips are settled down into the ground and into some pullover. So we're going to reach those arms up and overhead, trying to keep a nice tight grip and then lowering the weights towards your thighs. reaching up and overhead. Keep that nice tight grip if you can, and then bring it down to the thighs with control. You're going to go as fast or as slow as works best for you. And again, same as that chest press. You want to stay safe in your range of motion and make sure the weight that you're using is a weight that you can control. So if there's a lot of puffing in the chest or you're using your ribs to help make that movement happen, you might want to drop one weight and stick with just a single weight or no weights at all. Or if it feels like it's not quite enough work, add a second weight on. Nice work, you guys. Beautiful. And time. Awesome job. Set your weights off to the side. We're right back to some hip bridges, but now we're going to take it into some single leg work. So right leg is either going to come across in a figure 4 position, or you're just going to keep the leg lifted. So if a figure 4 position just doesn't feel good for your hips and your knees this morning, keep the leg lifted, but we would just want to work out of that left leg. So we're going to lift the hips up, release them down with control. Take it as fast or as slow as you like, but tune in and pay attention. Try to keep a solidness in that left leg, the leg that's on the ground. And then whatever variation works for you, figure 4 or just keeping the leg lifted, but we want to find control from that left leg. Squeeze your glutes as you come up, lower back down with control. You're already halfway there on this side. Twenty seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Lower your hips, step your right foot off or lower your right foot down, and then right to the other side. So either left leg is going to come across in that figure 4 position, or it's going to stay lifted in the air, but we got 1 minute on the clock. We're lifting up into that single leg hip bridge, lowering back down with control. Now finding all of that work coming out of the right leg, finding that nice squeeze in the glutes, work coming out of the hamstring. Nicely done. Beautiful, you guys. Fifteen seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Step your left leg off the right, both feet back down on the ground. We're back to our hand weights and in that close grip position. So hands together, we're taking it back into a chest press. So we're going to take those weights right to the chest, keeping that close grip, push them up towards the ceiling. So your elbows are going to come out to the side, lower the weights to your chest, and then push them straight up to the ceiling. If you're working with lighter weights here, you're going to start to pick up the pace, going just a little bit faster, finding that nice squeeze coming out of the armpit chest as you push those weights up towards the ceiling. If you're using heavier weights, just check in. At this point, if you fatigued your pectoral muscles a little bit, you might opt to just take one weight, hold it sideways in a sideways grip. So you still keep that close grip position, but you're not yanking too much against those muscles at this point. Nice, you got it. Yeah, if you can keep your weights tight together, so you're pushing them together straight up from the chest, if you've got that range of motion, keep that nice tight grip. And time. Awesome job. All right, we're coming up to a seated position. So sit yourself on up. Theraband if you'd like, or you can stick with the weights. It'll be totally up to you here, but we're going to take it into a seated row. So if you want to use your Theraband, just take a quick glance, make sure it's in good condition, and then wrap it around the bottoms of your feet. Extend your legs nice and long. In an upright seated position, we're going to keep a nice tall posture. Pull the elbows back like you're scraping your elbows across your ribs, and then lengthen them out with a bit of control. If you don't have your Theraband or don't feel like using your Theraband this morning, then you're going to keep your weights in your hands, pushing the weights forward, pulling them back with control. Same maneuver, but you're just going to find a different level of feedback from the weights to the Therabands. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're going at your pace, faster, slowest feels right to you. But we want to make sure, especially if we're using the Theraband, that we control the pulling and the releasing. So it's not a snap back. We're not going to let the Theraband pull our arms forward, but we're going to control and resist as we reach the arms forward, and that same amount of control as we pull the elbows back. Nice, you guys, you look amazing. You got 20 seconds left. Really nice posture, you guys. Woo, beautiful work. Okay, release your Theraband or set your weights down off to the side. And now we're going to start to find a wide position with the legs. So take a second to get your legs as wide as feels comfortable that you can maintain still a nice tall upright position. We're going to do 30 seconds one leg, 30 seconds the other leg. So you're going to rotate slightly towards one leg, hands are on the ground, and we're lifting the leg up, lowering it with control, lifting it up, and lowering it with control. So we're finding we're coming out of the hip flexor muscle, that tensor fascia lata, and maybe you'll feel a little bit of work deeper in the psoas muscle, but we're going to keep it controlled. We got about 10 seconds left on this side. Lift it up, lower it with control. Try to maintain that nice tall upright posture. 5 seconds left. And time. Lower that leg down. Now rotate to the other leg. Hands are just going to give you a little bit of support so you can lift that leg up, lower it with control. Still maintaining that nice tall posture. If you feel like you've got your legs too wide and something's not working for you there, move your legs a little bit closer, but we still want to maintain a little bit of a wide position so we can really innervate those muscles there. You got 15 seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Woo! Give those a little shake. And now we're going to keep a slightly wide position, but now maybe just a little bit closer. So let your feet maybe find the outer edges of your mat. Once you've got that position, hands behind the head, we're going to take a little twist, a little side bend, lift back up, rotate back to center. Twist the other leg, side bend, lift up, rotate to center. So now you're going to take that at your pace. You're going to keep your legs nice and anchored on the ground. Let most of the work come from your center, rotating from the belly button up, keeping the hands behind the head. And if you like to just find that little bit of connection work, you're going to keep your head pressing into your hands and your hands into your head. So you maintain that really nice posture. Beautiful, you guys. And as you're here, tune into your hips. So if it feels like your hips are swiveling as you twist, try to keep your hips nice and heavily anchored into the ground. So the hips are not going to move. They're going to stay nice and even on the floor. And most of the twisting and rotating is coming out of the upper part of your body. And time. Awesome job. All right, now we're going to flip around and take it into an elbows and forearms down plank position. And we're going to take it right into a saw. So elbows and forearms down to start, elbows in line with the shoulders. Start by just walking your knees back and finding a low plank position here and see how that feels on your shoulders. And then from there, you're just going to rock your shoulders past your elbows and pull them back slightly. If you've got the strength in your shoulders and you're feeling it this morning, you're going to lift your knees away from the floor, stay in that higher plank position, and then you're rocking forward here. So shoulders come past the elbows, and then you push back into your heels. Keep a nice broadness in your shoulders, a nice firmness in your center. If at any point you need to, bring your knees down and then pick them back up. You got it. 20 seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Bring those knees down. Come up into a tabletop position. Woo! Take a second to give your shoulders a breather. And then we're going to take it right into bird dog. So opposite hand, opposite foot are going to slide and reach out. Bring it back in with control. Switch to the other side. So it's opposite hand, opposite foot. If you're not feeling it this morning or balance isn't there, just to slide out with the toe and the finger on the floor, and then you'll alternate to the other side. But if all is feeling good, you've got that nice stability, your belly's feeling nice and firm, shoulders are feeling happy, then you're lifting and extending out and releasing it with control. Nicely done. Beautiful control, you guys. And time. Nice work. All right, next up, we're going to come into a kneeling position and we're going to take our hand weights with. So we're going to stay in a low kneel. Right leg is going to step forward, left knee is down on the ground. The leg that's forward, that hand is just going to hold a bent elbow position and you're going to hold that static. The left arm, the leg that's down on the ground, that arm is going to do a bicep curl. So we're going to keep the right arm stationary in that bent elbow position, elbow is hugging in at the ribs, and the left arm is taking that bicep curl. So we're bringing it all the way up to the shoulder and down towards the thigh. We're going to keep a little bit of an innervation of the leg. So heel, that front heel is drawing towards the back knee and the back knee is drawing towards the heel. So our legs stay nice and zipped up and steady. And we're just working through that single arm. Nice, you guys, beautiful work. If you're working with a heavier weight, slow and mindful. If you've got a lighter weight at this point, pick up the pace a little bit, but keep all of that stability in your body. We got 20 seconds left on this side. And time. Awesome work. Hands down to the ground. We're switching sides. So that right foot's going to step back, left foot's going to step forward and back up to that high kneel position. Now the leg that's in front, that arm is just going to stay bent in that static position. And the leg that's down on the ground, that arm is going to do the bicep curl. We got 1 minute on the clock. Nice and stable in your legs. So that front heel draws towards that back knee. So the legs stay zipped up nice and tight. Nice tall posture. And then again, if you're working with those lighter weights, start to pick up the pace here, get some extra reps in, but make sure you keep that nice stable base. So the legs are actively holding you in a nice strong position. Nice, Helen, looking stable. Ooh, girl, yes, nice work. You got 15 seconds left. and time. Awesome job. Set your weights down and then switch it so that you can bring both knees in line, and we're going to come up into a high kneel position. So both knees on the ground. If you need to double pat your knees, take a second to do that. But then we're going to load up at the chest. We're going to take it into a Z sit. So think about tucking the tailbone slightly so we keep the pelvic floor pulling upward towards the ribs. Lean back into your Z sit. Or in the Pilates world, they call this thigh stretch. So you might feel it down your thighs towards your knees, and then you're going to come forward. And then from here, sit your butt back to your heels, push into the tops of the feet and the shins, lift back up into that high kneel position. If sitting back to the heels is no good for your knees, you're just going to take a little bit of tuck of the bum back and then straighten right back up and then lean back into your Z sit. But if it feels comfortable to do so and your knees are okay with it, sit all the way back, rise up with control, lean back, but keep that nice zipped up position through the front of the body. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're taking this at your pace, and you're taking that squat backwards to the depth that feels right to your knees. Nice work, you guys. Beautiful. Five seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Set one weight down, stay in that high kneel position. Our last minute of work here, we're just going to pass that weight around the back. So we're going to keep a nice firmness in the tummy, just keeping it zipped in just a little bit. So you want to feel like as if somebody comes in for a tickle and you just tighten it up just a little bit. So it's not so tightened that it doesn't have any flexibility to move. And then we're just going to start to pass that weight around your center. Find your handhold first. Once you've got it, pick up the pace, go as fast or slow as you like. You want to make sure you have that handhold before you let go with the other hand. Five more seconds in this direction. And then start going the other way, passing around in the other direction. Check your handhold first, and then once you've got it, you can pick up the pace. Nice, Robbie, beautiful. And time. Awesome job. Set your weight down, and now we're just going to take a little stretch through the glutes. So in your tabletop position, just make sure that your weights are a little bit out of your way. Bring your big toes together, walk your knees out nice and wide, and then pull your butt back to your heels. You're going to let your butt settle back towards your heels, and then let your belly, your chest, and your forehead just kind of sink down towards the ground, and take a couple nice big breaths here. All right, when you're ready, come back up to that kneeling position, walk your knees in. We're gonna lift up through a downward facing dog and into a forward fold. So if you like, curl your toes under, lift your hips up just as high as you like, and then walk your feet toward your hands toward your feet into a nice little soft folded position. So knees are bent, let your belly and your chest rest on your thighs, let your head hang nice and heavy here, take a nice big breath. Awesome. And then when you're ready, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in. We're going to roll up through the spine, nice and slow and controlled. And then take a couple of good shrugs to your shoulders. And then once you're up in that standing position, you're just going to take the left arm across the body, grab the back of the arm, drop the shoulder down. And then once you've got a good handhold, lift your head up and down, just a nice slow nodding motion, tuning in to the space between your shoulder blades and the front of your neck. One more nod up and down. And then head comes to neutral, release that arm, take it to the other side. Grab the back of the arm, shoulder down. And then once you've got a good handhold, nodding up and down with the head. Nice. One more nod of your head up and down, and then head comes to neutral. Release that arm. Give your arms a couple of good swings in and out. And you guys are amazing, man. Okay, not a super sweaty session like on Friday, but awesome fine tuning work. So great job today, and grab your tennis ball if you are sticking around.